Welcome to the narrowboat that James built. Hope you're well, thanks for joining me. I've got to do some work down here in the engine bay. I've got to bilge it out first, so there's a bit of rainwater in there. And then I need to replace my fuel filter, which I haven't done. Well, I've never done that. So I need to definitely do that. And I need to mount my earth cable from the earthing point on the engine through the bulkhead into the electrics cupboard, and then I can start to map out all of my earthing and negative buzz bars. So down here in the engine bay, I need to swap that fuel filter over. On the bottom of it, it's got a nylon nut, and that is non-compliant with the BSS, so I'm going to take that off. It needs to be replaced anyway, so I'll get that done. I also think I probably need to remove those two weights, even though they are in that enclosure. They're not tethered down, and even if they were, it wouldn't work. So I think I'll take them out, and I've got to tether that battery down. So there's straps on, or there's little things on both sides, so I'll be able to mount it to that just with a ratchet strap. Right, this is the one I need to replace. And first off, I need to shut off the fuel supply. So that's that tap there. Done. Okay, this is the culprit there, that plastic or nylon nut at the bottom of the fuel filler. That is not very fire retardant according to the BSS, so this has got to be taken off. So before I do that, I've isolated it. Now I just need to bleed it, so kind of get the fuel out of this and the fuel out of the line there going to the tap. So I've got a little tray here to catch the diesel that comes out. Ish. Right, loosen that. And I guess the diesel will just start to flow when this comes out. So loosening that releases the flow, and actually, yeah, that is not bad coloured diesel in there. That's all right. So I let that all drain out. I'm struggling to get this fuel filter off, and you'll see after quite a few attempts of trying to grip this and loosen it, it's not happening. So the next step is to smash a screwdriver through the side of it and use that as leverage. So a bit like that, I'm guessing, and then blimey, that is tight. That is still really tightly on, blimey. Yeah, it's working. I wonder if I've loosened it enough now that I can get my grips around it. Wow. Just. Right, yeah, now it's pretty free. Let's see how bad this is. By the looks of the diesel coming out the bottom, oops, doesn't look too bad. A bit of crud in there. Right, let's get this replaced. So here's the new one, and you'll see instead of I've got a nylon nut at the bottom, it's got a steel bolt going through with a copper washer just to give it something to kind of seal to. And Darren at Calrose said that will be sufficient. So let's get that put on. I've done that up nice and tight. All I've got to do is lubricate the top of this with a bit of diesel and screw it on. Right, that's back on. Now I can open up the diesel tap. Right, new filter is on, tap's open, and there are no leaks, so it's been mounted correctly. I'm just going to leave that tray there just to ensure there are no drips, but yeah, that is looking good. Right, whilst I've got the engine compartments open, I'm going to put in my earth cable, which is going to run from the earthing point of the engine through the bulkhead into the electrics cupboard. Here's my earthing cable, which has got to go onto a point down there on the engine. It's got a route round the back there, or front of the engine, and then through a hole down there into the electrics cupboard. So here's the earthing point on the engine there. So I've just got to attach another lug to that, and then I can route the cables round there, and into that hole there. I knew that wasn't going to be as simple as I thought. That's the lug which was already on there. That's the lug I've already made up. As you can see, there's quite a size difference. I could drill that out, but then the surface contact is, because you actually see the kind of the difference in size of the surface of the lugs is quite a bit different as well. So I'm not going to drill this out, I'm going to replace the lug. Right, I managed to get a, this is a 50mm lug. So I managed to get a 50 by 10 on there, drill it out a little bit, but there's quite a bit of surface area still on that. I've run out of black heat shrink, so I've had to make do with some reds. It's all a bit irksome, but it'll be all right. The most important thing is it is the right size. There's ample of it here to mount. So I'm going to couple that up with the one from the starter battery and do it up nice and tight. Right, that's connected on with a pretty decent connection. So I just got to route this cable round now. Well, here we go, we're all mounted and secured in place. I've got to lop off the end of the cable ties, but here it is following the positive. The positive comes off here to go to the starter motor, and then the negative earth cable continues that way through there into the electrics cupboard. We have really lucked out during these Easter holidays. I've got the girls on board with me for a week, which has been really something I've been looking forward to, and the weather has absolutely made this. It's beautiful. So the girls have got life jackets on and we're taking advantage of the floating stuff all around me. I don't know if I trust this one, Finn. I can definitely hear air coming out of it.
That doesn't sound too safe.
It doesn't sound.
We're gonna have to check it in a minute, but you're still afloat for the time being.
You're still afloat.
Look at that for parking. Check that out.
Okay, Teals. Somebody seems desperate to get out. You jump out first.
Why me?
Because you're first. Making the most of this early spring sunshine. There's a few of us here, mostly boaters, and new friend Mark, who is on a boat further down, and he's a piper, which is interesting. There's more people in our group than there are at the goat boat, I think, at the moment. Wow, I've never had that before. Put that sound away. Yeah. Right. That's amazing. Okay, Tills, do you want to read for a bit? Yeah. Okay, so tell me if this light, if the light works in there now, if it's better for you.
Yes, it works.
Yeah, can you read in with that light on?
Yeah.
Cool. Right, here's the earthing cable coming in, and it's got to mount to the main earthing point here on the links distributor. I think I can probably get a couple points in there, but I'm gonna probably, yeah, go for put this one onto there and then have another one linking this to a main negative buzz bar. So I'm just gonna measure, cut and crimp that cable now. One thing I'm doing now is checking that the lug fits on before I crimp it all up. Yes, that does. Okay, good. There we go. Right, let's get that on. Don't know if you can see that. I've got 35 by 8mm lug, 35mm crimps, and the most awkward tool to use on your own that anyone could possibly design. Right, good. Now some heat shrink on that. Right, now I can get that back through the hole and mount it to the links distributor. Right, I've got to do a bit of a change here because this is the earth cable coming in onto the negative point there on the links distributor, but I can't fit on another cable. I can't fit on another lug very well to then run this off to the various buzz bars I require. So what I'm gonna have to do is run this one from here to the buzz bars and then run that from the buzz bar back to the engine chassis. To be honest, as long as there's a decent pathway for the negative to go, or for the earth to go back to the engine chassis, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter which way they're connected. So I'm gonna have to just redo this slightly so it fits all a bit better. Right, here's the MPPT. The earthing point there I've just taken off, so I'm just going to attach this cable here, which is already crimped up. Just got to put some heat shrink on there. That goes onto there, and then that bolts that in place. There we go. There's the earth mounted to the MPPT. Now I can put that back on the wall. Okay, the next thing to be earthed is the inverter. That's the earthing point there. It's going to be quite tricky to get the cable up through there. Not sure what gauge cable I'm going to use yet, but it's going to go down there, and then these are routing into that negative block there, which is direct to the engine mount, and then from there I'll feed off to other negative buzz bars, a bit like that one in a different position. But yeah, let's get that cable made up now. Okay, I've put the earthing point there. So I've got the one coming from the engine there, so that's kind of the main feed back to the main earthing point. Got this one here which links up the links distributor. This big one here is the inverter. Then I got that one there is the solar MPPT, and then this one here is going to link up to another series of buzz bars. So the main ones are going here, shortest distance back to the main earthing point. Right, so from there it goes to that buzz bar there, which is going to take the negative feeds from some of the lower 12 volt appliances, and then I've got to make a cable now to take that buzz bar all the way up around the top there and mount it somewhere on that wall there. So from that buzz bar I've got another piece of conduit which takes the negative round to there, and then it's going to come up to here and go to another buzz bar at the top up there. That buzz bar has been mounted, which is going to feed some of the switches up here in this part of the electrics cupboard. It's actually going to be doing these three here, amongst a couple others, which is going to be horn, tunnel light and nav lights. And all the negatives from these fuses here, which are all the main lighting circuits. At the moment that's going into it as well, just for simplicity of cables. That routes round bottom of there and down to that point down there. This has all been tidied up a little bit. So MPPT cables are there. I had to change the earthing cable a little bit just to make it nicer wiring. These obviously haven't been connected up yet, but that's the kind of position that they're going to be following. And now I've got that buzz bar there, which is going to feed some of these lower circuits like the fridge and the gulper for the kitchen and some of the other circuits around the galley. So I think the next thing I need to do is work out the position for the blade fuse holder, which is going to be main cabin lights. I'm just trying to work out if it should be mounted round here or actually maybe even on the inside of this cupboard here. These are the two blade fuse holders I've got on this side of the electrics cupboard, and I've got one mounted there for the switches on this side. Just goes through a little fuse before it goes into there. These are going to be fused down there somewhere, and those two are going to be linked up. This one here is going to be for some of the galley services, and this is purely for the lighting. So it's going to be for these cables going down here, and I'm going to put the switches somewhere around here on the electrics cupboard. In other areas of the boat, I'm going to be using these, which have got the positive and negative buzz bars in them, so they're kind of a bit more compact blade fuse holders. But yeah, I need a kind of slightly larger ones. These are positive only, so kind of makes it quite nice and neat. Right, I've repositioned that buzz bar there, so it's kind of a bit cleaner. This is the first little fuse board, and then there's another one there which is for the lights, and then there's another one there which is for some of the circuits up here. So just trying to minimize the amount of cable runs, but that's looking quite kind of neat and tidy, to be honest. There isn't too many more cables to go in. Obviously these have got to be routed now, and I've got to make the ends of those so they go into the switch panel here, which, as I mentioned on a previous video, I'm quite looking forward to making that switch panel, so I've got an idea for that. Because now I've got that, I just need switches, so I can get away with not having something like that. Anyway, yeah, this is pretty good. There's a space down there for the Orion. This gets pretty hot, so the lower down that is, the better, and a bit more isolated. So that's going to be there. Got to run a few more cables now. I'm going to sort all that out, and yeah, quite happy with this install. Right, I've come up to the bow bedroom. This is one of the few places that I can record in a bit of peace with the girls on the boat still for the next couple of days, but they're down there watching TV at the moment. Talking of which, I've also mounted one on my wall here. So we've got a nice like swivel bracket, which kind of makes it work really nicely in the bedroom. It's a really kind of cozy, decent place to be, which is cool. I've had to tackle some low-hanging fruit this week, which has been good. Obviously, with the girls on board, I couldn't do too much else. But getting that kind of the earthing stuff for the electrics cupboard is kind of, and getting the electrics kind of to another stage is quite important. Next stage is going to be MC4 connectors on the roof to get the solar panels all connected up, and then I'm not far off commissioning the system, which would be great, because lugging eco-flows and stuff around the boat and moving things around is not ideal, certainly with the girls on board. Although this week the boat really has passed its test really well. The girls have enjoyed it. The boat's performed well. It's been loads of space. The bunk beds have worked a treat. The girls really like climbing up the cupboards to get in and out. So yeah, it's been great. I'd like to thank Russell, Jez, Mike and Lee in Texas for putting some money in my buy me a coffee thing, which they did the other day. I've actually spent that money on more leather. Well, I'm going to spend it on more leather because I've got to clad the inside of some of these lower walls, and that's going to be made real apparent with Ivy in the lower bunk this week. It's all really nice in there, apart from the bit underneath the gunnel, which definitely needs to be finished off. So yeah, thank you very much, you guys. It really does make a massive difference. And thank you for watching this. Until next time, take care. Bye, mate.